Welcome to the No Guts, No Galaxy podcast number 172. We are your hosts, Daeron and Phil, and today is Wednesday, June 26, 2019. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Phil. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I think our guest is a little hot, a little humid, a bit. Yeah. Other than that, I'm doing good.
You want to know what the weather is like here? Sunny and perfect. I'm going to tell you anyway. It is sunny, and it's like 60-something degrees. That's Fahrenheit. For our guest. But anyway, let's jump right into our guest since he's sitting here on screen and we don't want to take up his time. And I've been noticing you've been calling him like what, the bearded wonder, the bearded beauty, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I was a little bit jealous.
It's hard to describe a sex icon like his beard. So you got to choose very carefully.
I'm going to let him take all the bearded glory for this episode, no doubt about it. As I was pointing out to him, not only does he not have to wear these freaking glasses, but he's got no gray in his beard. He is the focus of our attention today. So welcome, Baradul. How are you doing?
Hey guys, it's good to be here. Thank you. But Daeron, let me say, my beard might be longer maybe, but yours has more mass.
More girth? We are talking about beards, guys. Anyway, it is great to have you here. Phil and I did have the pleasure to see you at MechCon as well and meet you in person.
Where you got me sick. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, I know.
Patient
at one point, he was patient zero.
Yeah.
The next year, I followed it up and I became patient zero. But, we trade off on those duties. And yes, I did just say duty. But Baradul, he's been part of this community for a very long time. Some of you may have known him previously as Molten Metal. We'll get into that in a little bit. But this is Baradul, and he goes by that on all platforms now, which are, you can catch him on Twitch TV/Baradul. You can also find him at Twitter at Baradul. And now at YouTube, Baradul. Yeah. It's no longer Molten Metal. Do you want to really just quickly tell us what happened there?
What was happening there was... that's quite a long story, but I try to be concise about it. When I first started the channel, I was actually brought to MechWarrior online because of my friends who were big MechWarrior nerds, and maybe we can talk about that later, but I didn't play Battletech, yeah. And so they were like, hey, there's this great mech game, and you really love it because you can customize everything, and let's play that together. And we started a unit and everything that follows up after that, and then started this YouTube channel. And I was thinking, hey, I'm going by Baradul with my gamertag like on every platform since I started video games, but I want to make this a community project, so I need a more generic name. So I was thinking about, what about like something catchy like Molten Metal, so that everybody can contribute, everybody could upload videos to that channel. And 2 months later, my people dropped the game, and I was the only one left, so I was still stuck with that name, although I was called Baradul in-game, so there was that. A little bit of a confusion there.
So what does... Now, Molten Metal is very appropriate, obviously, because that's what happens to basically mech metal when it is shot with lasers and so forth. That's described in the novels quite often. But what does the name Baradul come from? What does it mean? Is it German for something? What is Baradul?
Actually, it doesn't really have a meaning. It was the name of my first pen and paper roleplay character, and I just made it up when I was like 13 or so. So I just put some syllables next to each other, and I was like, okay, that's gonna be a nice name for a mage, I guess it was back then. So yeah, and it kind of stuck. I don't know. It was just my nickname from that point on.
You were a lot more creative than I was.
Dude, my first character in D&D was a ranger, and it was a horrible name. I've always been bad at picking names. I mean, look at my name here, Bombadil. It's from fucking fiction. It's not even an original name. I'm terrible at names. Yeah, I do remember what it was, and you're not going to hear.
Come on.
We're sharing embarrassing things.
No, I'm not going to tell anybody.
But like
you have
to
get me
tag,
drunk.
like XX,
you have to get me drunk at the next
gathering.
Yeah, right. XXX 69.
Not gonna tell.
Or 20 yellow or something.
Okay.
Anyway, maybe you remember from our last podcast with Loken. I asked him to do a quick, elevator pitch, basically about who he is and what he's about. Would you mind doing that for us? Like, just tell us. Whatever, how you got into streaming, who you are as a person, anything under 2 minutes, just give us the pitch on Baradul.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, sure. So I'm I'm Baradul. I love gaming and I love playing it casually. I also like putting things together. I'm an explorer type of guy, and therefore MechWarrior Online is the perfect game for me because there are millions of builds that I can try and challenge myself on the battlefield. I'm not too tryhard in my approach. I just want to see what works and what I could put together. And that's kind of the approach of my channel. So you will see a daily build for a certain mech with a certain loadout on my YouTube channel. And I also play Battletech, where I basically do the same thing, but from the commander's perspective. And yeah, I just like exploring and tinkering around with stuff and see how I can push my boundaries and my limits.
Now, Phil, you've done obviously a lot of build videos on our channel, NGNG TV, but I'm sure you've had the chance to check out some of Baradul's as well. Baradul, you do a ton of build videos. What is your release schedule on that? I know I've heard from a lot of people in the community that super appreciate those. Myself, when I play new games, I often look for the YouTubers that have some insight on builds and so forth. I feel like you've really filled that niche well.
Yeah.
You provide a lot of those videos. Phil, do you have any thoughts or comments on that too?
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny enough, recently I just kicked off another series of mech reviews, and it's actually, you inspired me to do it. I used to do those all the time, but then I started dedicating more time to just streaming because it does eat up a lot of time. And you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but he releases a mech video every day and then a Battletech playthrough video every day. And that Battletech playthrough is actually separate from his stream, of Battletech, right? And what I've seen him do is grab a niche in the community and just roll with it. I mean,
own it.
Yeah, I mean, he's the biggest, I would say, mech channel for MWO builds, hands down. Like there's nobody else that does that. You're also consistent with videos every single day, and with the community and just viewers, that's one thing, is consistent. Can you come to a channel and are you getting quality content? Obviously, your format has changed the period of time. Everybody's does. You refine things, you like things, you don't like things, you take in and out. But the one thing that you have consistency. It's been interesting to watch you on the outside, as you've progressed. I won't say evolved, but I guess evolved from doing this at the very beginning casually and still working on this side to doing this full time. And it's been pretty cool watching it because no one else really has done that out in the community. No one else has dove in as.
Well, there's certainly other build channels out there, but what I would say, what you touched on is consistency. And tell us a little bit about that, Baradul. I think your consistency is super significant as far as your success that you've seen. And that comes both with the streaming and the video channel. How did you come about the idea of, okay, I'm going to be doing these type of videos, and how do you do that every single day? Multiple things every single day.
Okay. Oh, that's two different questions. Let me answer the first one. And I hope that you don't mind that I go a little bit deeper into that.
No.
Please do.
Cool. So first of all, I'm not only a creator, but I'm also a consumer. So when I started, even before I started the channel, I was following some YouTube creators. Back then I was playing a lot of Dota. I don't know, Defenders of the Ancient, you may know that, it's a MOBA. And there was one creator who consistently did that. He actually published a video each and every day. And I was watching him, and I thought that I had kind of connection with him, and I was observing my own consumer behavior upon his channel. Because he was just giving some interesting side notes. He was talking about his life, and I just tuned in the next day because I wanted to know how the wisdom teeth extraction by his girlfriend went, And that made me feel like, hey, I want to produce that kind of content. That is interesting. I feel a connection to that person, and I want to create content that I would enjoy watching. So let's try to do that. Of course, there are all the YouTube gurus who say, "Hey, consistency is key if you wanna be successful on the platform." And when I started my whole YouTube career, if you want to say it like that, I was actually doing it because I was in a burnout. So I have a similar story than Loken. I was a web developer before my YouTube thing, and out of curiosity, I wanted to know how the platform works. We were doing a lot of research in product development, and we were doing a lot of prototyping and building facades, just to check if customers would be interested in a product that not really exists yet. So some kind of fake videos or fake landing web pages were our thing back then. So I was diving into YouTube, and I thought the best way to dive into that whole topic was just upload something yourself. Just try it, get hands on. And the first video I actually produced was just me playing an Orion ON1V with a brawling setup with an XL engine, horrible build nowadays. Wouldn't do that anymore. And then it kind of kicked because people were watching it, and I was kind of hooked because I was diving into the analytics, and I'm like, wait, people are actually watching this stuff? Interesting. Let's go one step further. Let's make some kind of, I don't know, tutorial, something that was, I think it was a cataphracт afterwards. I was talking about brawling and when to pick your time and find the right moment when to engage, and then people start commenting on it. I was like, okay, cool. People are actually interested in that content, and it kind of went down from there. And then I was reading a lot. I was watching other tutorials, how to improve as a YouTuber, and it kind of started from there. And then it got traction, and from the build of the week back then, from the weekly video, again, consistency is key there. So it doesn't really matter if you upload every day, as long as you have the consistent schedule. Like, it doesn't have to be every day. It's okay if it's each week or each month. Unless your people know when to tune in again. And at some point I was like, okay, let's step it up a bit. Let's do daily videos. And it kind of, went down from there.
So now, go ahead, Phil.
I was going to say, so as far as, have you seen a connection of growth, I guess? Have you seen any type of correlation between your YouTube channel and your Twitch channel? Has there any been like crossover? Because there is a lot of analytics. You can see where sometimes your traffic is so forth on both platforms.
Yeah.
Is that something that, did you tune into that and be like, okay, yeah, that's interesting. Numbers are growing, YouTube channels are growing.
Yeah, but I think I have to also extend this topic a little bit, because I was streaming on YouTube back then. Because I thought, hey, my core audience is on YouTube. I mean, I was coming from that side. Gotcha. And I had a substantial amount of viewers already on my videos when I started the whole streaming thing. And I gotta say, for me, it was a big deal, because coming from that scripted, pre-recorded voice-over video from the build of the weeks over to, oh my god, I'm gonna do it on the fly now. I hope my English is good enough. I hope that my voice is coming through correctly, and then my language is on point. That was a big step for me. Like, then activating the camera and then going live, because the live impression is just live. I mean, you cannot just take another take. And
okay, I have a question. Go ahead. Keep going.
Let me quickly answer that quickly.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, I was on YouTube back then, and started streaming, and I was like, okay, my community really likes that. But YouTube wasn't a good platform back then, so I was taking a look at Twitch, because back then Twitch had the monetization model with the bits and the subs. I was like, okay, I could extend that a little bit. And I think in general, Twitch is, I think, still the better platform for video games. And for that reason, I had my core audience there, and whenever I'm posting a video, I say, hey, like, guys, I have a Twitch channel too, so if you want to follow me here, get live content, then leave a follow and get the notifications when I'm online. So there is definitely a synergy, and I'm getting follows and even subs on my Twitch, although I'm not streaming, because of people coming from YouTube over to Twitch. And I think it is the better platform for being found.
And that's actually something I wanted to ask you, is like, maybe there's someone out there listening. I know I've said this, and even Loken, I was hounding him, and I've been hounding him about need to start a YouTube channel. It doesn't have to be consistent every single day. You don't have to have all the answers or the whatever, but the correlation between someone finding your videos, like if you Google it, or if you go to YouTube and you type in MechWarrior Online, and it's Baradul's videos that are popping up, well, guess what? That means your Twitch channel is going to grow, because someone is going to find your YouTube, or in this case, YouTube videos, which, by the way, thank you for helping. Analytics and metadata is hugely important, which I knew, but I didn't fully understand until recently. And
that comes from your web developer experience, doesn't it? Were you
Yeah,
a search
absolutely.
engine optimizer?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm a data nerd, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so important though, because
Yeah.
discoverability on Twitch is
Well, discoverability on
getting
the internet
better.
in general, right?
Yes.
Like anybody can put anything out there, but you got to get people to eyeballs on what you're doing.
Well,
And
but
so,
but on a
yeah.
platform like Twitch, where all you have is to the now they have a recommended channels. So now that's an
Yeah.
improvement, right? But I mean, how else is someone going to find you other than playing a game like MWO, where there's not literally 2,000 plus people, just 1 in 1,000?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely a good marketing tool. I have a question as far as when you started, when you said, okay, I'm going to do this YouTube thing or even Twitch.
Yeah.
What made you decide to speak in English? Why not? Like, I've seen huge German channels, both YouTube and Twitch. Was there a specific reason? Were you just thinking broader market? Do you speak English on a daily basis as it is? Like, what made you choose that route?
I was basically target audience and the size of it, because we have a rather small community. I knew that from the beginning, and I was doing my research. So I was watching other channels that were online back then. I think Critical Rocket was pretty big. You were big. The Beef was still doing YouTube back then, and I was like, okay, so the view numbers, if I really want to pursue this and turn it into a career, I have to be English. So if I cut my target audience into not even a third, because I only speak German, then it wouldn't be sustainable.
I mean, if I can ask, I mean, the viewers, the demographics, is it mainly North America or English, you know?
I think it's about 50% North America, Canada and US combined, and then 20 to 30% Germany, and Europe all around, and then rest of the world, yeah. So 20% Germany, then another 10% rest of Europe. We have a bunch of UK people, some Australians actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Just so everybody knows, Baradul is in no way nervous about being on a podcast with us or anything like that. It's like 100 degrees Fahrenheit where he's at. He does not have he does not have a fan or air conditioner going because he's on podcast.
I'm under the roof.
Yeah. So we appreciate you suffering for us. That is one reason why we're going to try and keep the podcast as quick as possible, so that he doesn't die basically on cam. But anyway, that's why. Thank you. So that's interesting. You know, I was talking to you before we started the podcast. Germany is huge in terms of, I would say, just because I've played a lot of other games, you know, like some of the tank games have always been, you know, World of Tanks, War Thunder, but also for sure, huge presence with MechWarrior from all the way back until present day. Where do you think why do you think Germany is such a huge lover of the mech games and so forth? Or are they? Is there any insight you have as far as that goes?
I cannot really tell you. So we were talking about that earlier, yeah, and I don't know, maybe it's really because of the Germans having a knack for armored vehicles and tanks. I mean, kind of have a history here, and there are still some military lovers out there who really like the technical aspect of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
I mean, war, let's not talk about that. It's always
Right.
a very difficult matter.
That's
But,
history.
yeah. But still, I think the technical aspect about it and the whole like knack for engineering,
German
and
engineering,
building
man, we all
things
know that.
together. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
I like that too. So
Absolutely.
Do you lean? I'm assuming you lean more towards like the westernized mecha, like than you do like anime, like as far as like Japanese stuff.
I've watched occasional animes, but I'm not really into it too much.
Like practicality comes in. I could definitely. It's
Tell us.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about, you mentioned you know, streaming full time and your whole process of getting into this. How did you make that transition from being a web developer to doing this full time? Was it a leap of faith? Were you nervous? Was your wife supportive? How has it changed your life now? Have you painted yourself into a corner with releasing the stuff every day? What's been that process of becoming full time, and how did that go for you?
It was a difficult process because I was coming out of a crisis. I was in a severe burnout back then because the circumstances, the whole environment in my former job was not great. I had a great job, But the team lead was not the best, and I was basically banging my head against the wall every single day there.
Oof.
So that was not great. But at the same time, they taught me so much, and I was already into this how does YouTube work thing. So when I was at the bottom, I had to make a choice. So I got severely sick, I gotta say. So I was sick at home for like 6 weeks or so. My doctor said, "Hey, you need to change something, or you will have your body will just collapse." And I'm like, "Okay, let's change something then. If it doesn't work, gotta change it." And I was debating the options with my wife, which was either being unemployed for a while or finding another job in the same niche because I was an expert on my in there, or making the transition to becoming a full-time YouTube/Twitch streamer. And as soon as we made that decision that this could be a path to pursue, it was so great because it relieved me so much. And all of a sudden, all of the creativity that I wanted to put into my former job was unleashed into the other direction. So I completely got it channeled into my like my own thing. As I was saying earlier, we were in an R&D development team for digital products, which means I knew how startups worked, and I got the technical expertise. I was like, I have basically everything I need. Also, maybe the skill to play the game in order to push myself into it, and I did, and it actually paid off well for me. Yeah, but
Well,
it was a hard journey.
I was gonna say it's interesting because
Yeah.
you mentioned you had a similar experience with Loken.
Yeah.
Mentioned, how has that been for you? Like, and for those that may be wondering, I'm talking about for Loken mentioned, depression, anxiety issues, social anxiety, not liking being on camera, not talking to people. How is created content literally live too now? How is that? Do you feel like you're in a better place now, or are there still butterflies there?
Well, did you have any social anxieties when you went into this? Have you dealt with any of those aspects as far as being a streamer? I deal obviously with a lot of streamers, a lot of content creators, and I find I would say 75% or more, have some kind of social anxiety, and that Twitch has been an outlet for them to be social, but not have to be in the presence of people. Do you have any of that going on, or has this just been a natural fit? You're a performer, you're an entertainer, and you've just loved every moment. What's it been for you?
No, it's actually as I described in the first place. The anxiety is big in this person, absolutely. Yeah. So the thing is, my friends, the people that I trust, I have a lot of fun with them. But talking to strangers is a big thing for me. So I can actually, I don't know how to say that. I'm in self-therapy basically here, putting myself every single day in front of the camera saying, "Hey guys, I'm here." And the cool thing about this whole story is that the community is extremely welcoming and very warm and very, very
You're facing your
nice.
fears, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, but I took the leap, but I landed very softly. We have very few trolls here. All the comments, or let's say 98% of the comments on YouTube are extremely positive. Chat on Twitch is great. And I think that has a lot to do with the rather mature population of this game here. Yeah.
Well, and I think it has to do with you. I was just going to actually bring that up. And sorry, Phil, if you had something to say.
Nope, this was what I was going to go down.
Yeah, and it's something, Phil and I have had this philosophy for a long time. In real life, we're pretty positive people. That's kind of the way we are. We like to think positively about life in general and people, and that's just kind of who we are, and that's been reflected, I think, in what we've done over the last 9 years. And that's something we've appreciated about you a lot, is that you're a very positive type person. You're trying to help. You're not out there, which is contrasts greatly to what I would, the rage culture out there or whatever on the internet in general. And I'm wondering, do you feel like, and I do, that your approach and the way that you are, your attitude, your positivity has reflected on, in other words, who hangs out in your chats or checks out your videos?
Mhm.
I think it does. I think it's because of you that you've created your community, and I think that's awesome. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I heard that saying before, that the streamer shapes their own community. So
Sure.
Absolutely, I agree 100% of that. If you're being negative, you attract negative people. If you're being positive, you attract positive people. And that goes back to the sentence that I said earlier. I want to create the content that I like to watch. So I'm creating the content I like to watch. I'm a genuinely positive guy, although I have issues, as I was saying,
We all
anxiety
do.
and all of that, right? But I wanna give something back to the world, and I strongly believe that we as a streamer or YouTube content creators or whatever we are doing, as soon as you create something, you impact out there, and I want to make that impact as good as possible. So I want to invite people, I want to inspire people to just enjoy their lives, enjoy video games. My stream is always a safe space, because I can refer to a topic. There was once a situation when somebody was coming in chat and they were like, "Oh my God, there is shooting in the YouTube headquarters," and of course that is a crazy message, but it's not a message from my stream, because this stream is for entertainment. We're here to leave all those worries outside for a moment. Those 15, 20, 30 minutes, those 2-3 hours, they're here for you. And I want to create that space that people can just hang out and have a good time and completely ignore the stuff that is in the world for a while.
Yeah, and I was actually going to go down the positivity route. I mean, how important it is as also just being a creator, I guess, like me in a mental sort of state of like I don't like surrounding myself, like everyone's had it where you're around someone that just, bitches all the time. It's, it's always someone else's fault and stuff. Man, that can just bring you down. And I've seen that with a lot of streamers and YouTube channels, and that's one thing that I've loved about your channel and your content is the positivity. And I don't care about the meta per se. I don't care what other people think. I'm just going to do what I think is fun and enjoyable. It shows because like post up a video and people watch it, and not just a few people, thousands of people are watching it. And that's one thing I'll say is I think the positivity aspect, it's so infectious as well. And it's so important having people like yourself and other content creators that sort of take that stance. And guess what? You're still here. And, I think that just speaks volumes to being yourself, but then also your passion. As you said, you left your job, you enjoyed the creative side of it, but obviously the conditions were not conducive to your mental health, and getting out of that literally helped you your physical health as well. And you're able to take that imagination and that positivity, put it towards something. That's something I've noticed on your videos. Yeah, you can definitely have negative people come at, man. I've had to deal with that. And sometimes I get in trouble in discussions because I want to engage sometimes in those, and sometimes they can.
It took us a long time to
negative,
learn that engaging that really has no positive outcome.
Well, to an extent, like if someone wants a discussion.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, I'm saying just somebody who's general, just trying to troll or be negative.
Yeah.
I do want to bring up, because obviously Phil and I are both big fans of the way that you present yourself and your positivity towards the community, and the overall effect that has on, I agree, an amazing community. MWO community, Battletech community is great. And I do think some of that has to do with the age, but it just also, whatever, it's a great community. And we appreciate what you're doing. I don't usually push other people's Patreons for no specific reason, just because we don't, but I want to push yours because here we have somebody who is out there for, all of you guys that are watching this right now. You're obviously fans of the Battletech MechWarrior community. Here's somebody that's doing good for our community, who's growing our community, who's bringing positive people and positivity into our community. I think it's totally worth supporting. So I'm going to link it. I'm going to link it here in Twitch chat. I'm going to link it on the podcast when it goes up. But for sure, we recommend supporting this guy. He consistently since the beginning, he's the same kind of person. It's really who he is, and totally worth supporting. So while I do that, Phil, why don't you pull us into the next question?
Well, and I think that's something is that sometimes is awfully never talked about as far as being a streamer and content creator is at the end of the day, you're having to make sure you can pay your bills and for you have a child now, you're married, you have a house, and stuff. And I feel like sometimes people are afraid to talk about that, but that's why anytime I talk about, hey, you enjoy someone's content, subscribe to their channel or go to the Patreon. I understand why some people don't subs and some people don't bits or whatever because they're fuck Amazon. But on the flip side, how important it is, and really what I guess the question is for you, if someone's listening and they're wanting to grow their channel, wanting to move maybe towards that doing, is there any strategies you've learned as far as viewer engagement, not only on Twitch, but maybe on YouTube? Is there anything that you've picked up and that you could give them a tip or two of saying, you know, like, hey, you know, obviously, you know, the catch-all is always like, just be yourself, but
Depends on what yourself is like.
right? Like, I don't know, man. There's people that are big YouTube stars that are assholes. So
Yeah.
But as far as, is there anything that you've learned that you could give knowledge as far as that's helped you grow? And that could be financial, of course. That is there any correlation that you found?
Lay your wisdom on us.
I think I could fill 5 hours with that, honestly.
Yeah.
What's your number one thing?
Number one thing. Oh wow. Okay, we talked about it earlier, but I think consistency is key. It is absolute key. So let your audience when you go live or when you upload a video, and inform them about it, and they will come back. I think this is how you grow from the very beginning. Also, God, there's so much to talk about. I mean, there's a technical standpoint, everything about metadata, everything about on the YouTube side.
Quality, technology.
Quality. Here's the thing. Speaking about technology and quality, I think production quality is a thing that you can neglect early on. I think what you need is valuable content and unique content. I see a bunch of people just uploading their Twitch VODs, as in the full 3, 4, 5 hours to YouTube. Nobody would watch that.
No.
People are on YouTube
Highlights
because
people.
they want concise content because they are looking for something specific, usually. Yeah. As in, on Twitch, you just tune in because you just have a bunch of time and you're just browsing through as on TV. And I think if you want to grow on YouTube, you gotta be concise and you gotta be on point and you gotta deliver your content within I would say 5 to 10 minutes. I think gaming is a little bit of a different niche though. Just thinking about it. I mean, my RogueTech videos obviously go up to an hour, but speaking of MechWarrior Online, when you wanna display a build or so, don't just ramble about. Just get into the game. Just talk about the build. Get into the game.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was gonna say the Battletech videos, even though they're longer, you have an audience that wants that though, right? And you have people that watch the entire hour, whereas some people only probably skip forward, watch the combat, or hey, let me check out that build. Same thing. I remember when I started posting the entire VODs, I had multiple people contact me and said, look, and it was before, I don't know the reason why. They said, I hate watching it on Twitch, the VODs afterwards. I don't know if I had to do with buffering or whatever. And they said, could you put it on YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I guess, you know, I mean, it doesn't take me a whole lot of time, and sure, I'll do that. And we actually had people watching them, like, and then I think really at the end of the day, depends on what your viewers want. You mentioned video length. Again, I feel like some people, if you're out there listening and you want to get into this, you need to look at how YouTube operates, from the metadata as far as tags to title names to descriptions to how long a video should be. I've seen a shift too. Some people use intro and outro videos. Some people don't. We used to. I don't anymore. You just get straight into the content. Again, using you as a reference. How important it is to copy what you yourself like. I think that, and trying to reinvent the wheel. It's not like you're going to come up with something new or unique. At least I won't. I'm not that smart. But if, like, why do you like that said YouTuber or Twitch channel, and then adopt something and make it your own?
Let me go back and follow up on that. Mm-hmm. I said something earlier about learning about startup in my old business. A principle that I really, really like is the lean startup. I don't know if that rings any bells.
The what?
No? Not a huge initial
lean
investment.
startup. Okay, so instead of just sitting down for 3 years and producing the perfect product, and then coming out and everybody is ahead of the market already, and nobody of your customers wants your product anymore, you just start right now.
Jump in.
This is literally what I did. I just uploaded a video, and I would say we are living in times where it has never been easier to create content online. So just take OBS, it's free, it's downloadable, just record something, put it out on YouTube, and see the reactions of the people and grow from there. I would say
I think
that
Phil
would
agrees
be
with
my
that philosophy.
my number one approach to it right now.
Darren is
Nike, just do it.
Darren is like, I hate you right now, Baradul, because that's
I agree.
And I think there's a time and place exactly because I'm very much like that. If I have an idea, I'm very much just dive in and we'll figure out the details as we go along. And whereas on the flip side, I think depending on your project or what you're doing, you could potentially do what me and or Darren likes, is taking your time planning out something and then releasing, or combination of those two. And it's sort of like our evolution of our podcast. Like, God, you ever go listen to those original ones? Like we were figuring out what we were doing, and as that process gets, you get more and more comfortable directing conversation, understanding. I don't know. It's just one of those where, like, yes, I'm all for just start. You don't have to have the latest camera. You don't need the best mic. Yeah, obviously. But also you need to understand how OBS works, right? You need to understand what bitrate, coding, and stuff like that. And there's thousands of videos. Like,
I'm not denying that you need to put some thought process into it, but that's exactly what I'm saying. You don't need expensive gear, you don't have to invest, you don't have to think too much about it. At some point, you just need to make the first step and then grow from there and then adjust while you're
We can be our own worst enemies, and we can talk ourselves out of making any movement because, I'm not ready, it's not perfect or whatever, and then you never do it, and you never know. I want to go back to your family though, unless go ahead. Did you have final?
No, it was just I just wanted to say the process might refine as you grow, but especially when you just start out, don't hesitate too much.
Absolutely, do it and then fine tune after you've started. And as long as you're paying attention to all the stuff that matters afterwards, you can improve what you're doing. But I want to go back to your family. How was it for your wife when you made that transition into going full time? How is it now? What does she think about what you've done? What does she think about you, getting out to MechCon and having that all paid for? And like, what has this been like for her, seeing this, your progression?
Okay, yeah. I mean, my wife is amazing, obviously. Anything else right now? And no, seriously, she was supporting me like crazy. I mean, obviously, she wants me to be in a very good mental health state. Sure. So, she cares about me. But when we made this decision together to take the leap and go full time on YouTube and Twitch, and she was like, "Everything you need, I'm gonna support you." So I was actually putting a lot of time into this whole thing very early on, and that meant like 60 hours a week plus. And she was covering everything from the household to taking care of the child. And there were actually weeks where I wasn't seeing my child, only like a few hours a week, because I started very early. He was in the kindergarten. My wife is also full-time employed, so she was picking him up. They were coming home. We had dinner together, and I was just going into the stream or into recording again. Those days were hard. But we told each other that would be the startup phase. And guys out there, it doesn't have to be like that. I was just pushing myself, and I was highly inefficient back then. Because back then I was still kind of, insecure how to do it, what the community wants, what I want to produce. And at some point, maybe my German engineering skills kicked in, and I was like, okay, this is not working. We need to optimize. So I was sitting down and tried to produce templates for my thumbnails, for my video editing software. I was trying to automate as much as possible so that I can get back my time and spend more time with the family. And that has changed to an extent where I actually have something like a 40-hour week now, which is the regular employment rate here. And yeah, we're fine again.
Very good, man.
The early, I would say, 1.5 year, I was going over my limits a lot.
Yeah. No, that's good. And have you thought about, I have 3 children, but I have one that's specifically younger. And she's old enough to where she went to MechCon last year, and she sees what her dad's doing. Do you ever think about telling your child what you do as a YouTuber when they're old enough to understand? Do you think you're going to still be doing it then? I'm assuming you will be. And just like, what has it been like being a Twitch streamer, YouTuber, with the people in your life, and do you think about that as far as telling your daughter, or I'm sorry, your child? I don't even know.
My son, yeah.
Your son. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know yet. So he knows that I'm working in front of the computer and I'm recording stuff. He's 4.5-year-old now. And yeah, I don't know. I've thought about that a bunch of times, and I came to the conclusion that I really hope that I'm not an idol for him. Because I want him to learn something and have a proper job, or have at least a proper education before he decides what to do with his life.
Totally, dude.
I don't know.
I have the same situation going, because I have 2 older kids. One's 28, one's 26. Thankfully, because I think they saw that. For most of my life, I was working from home. I was doing podcasts. We started NGNG like 10 years ago. So they saw a lot of that. And I was always concerned with that too, is that they would see it as like a lazy way to do things, or an easy way out, or not having to go to school. No, it's not. It's misconception though. Think about how many people get into Twitch streaming and YouTube because they think it's going to be an easy job, right? When it's absolutely the opposite, because of the amount of people that are doing it. It's totally inundated with people. And so it's totally the opposite. But I think a lot of people get into it because of those reasons. And it's just perception. It's not reality. And my daughter is the same way. I'm my youngest, I'm really making sure that she understands the importance of education, and that there's all kinds of opportunities out there. And that, I basically am trying to steer her away from this, not if it happens, and it happens, whatever, I'll be supportive. But yeah, it's not an easy job in any way.
Absolutely not. You have to make so many sacrifices. For me, it's mostly time, I gotta say, because I'm streaming usually in my evening. I'm starting at 7 p.m. my time, stream until the night, and that is mostly so that I can, reach the North American people, because obviously it's a big target audience. I want to serve those people, and I want to deliver content to them. That means, I think at the moment, 3 of my evenings are reserved for streaming that I'm not spending with my family or friends. People don't see that. They see the facade of, hey, he's just playing video games. Yeah. I won't dive into this whole tax thing, because being self-employed brings all of the beauty of tax with it. And it is actually a lot of stress, because as much as I love being in front of the camera, there's also some kind of pressure, because there are people out there. They're expecting you to deliver. And I don't want to disappoint those people. Like from an inner standpoint, and obviously from a business perspective, right?
Sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah, being an entrepreneur in that aspect, you're taking all the reward, but all the risk.
Yeah.
Well, and talking about financial stress as well. I remember specifically when you were saying you were going full time, and I thought that was really cool, because again, in our community, we had a few people that I think were close, but for whatever life or whatever, just steered away from it. But
actually, it's pretty insane that you were able to go full time, basically based on this franchise.
I'm not. I mean, as far as like a niche, like I've said this time and again. If you see something, like if something is in a game, or like, hey, there's I wish we had better tutorial videos. To me, whenever I hear that, I think of an opportunity. And that's how I take stuff like that. So maybe there's some out there that's how you dove on, is like, hey, there's really no one else doing build videos that are helping people, or because you have build videos that are fun. Some are meta, sure, but some aren't. And you saw a niche, whether you realized it or not, and you capitalized on it, and you're still capitalizing, you're still growing it. To me, that just sort of speaks to someone that knows how to look out at the landscape and sees what's going on. I mean, it's a smart move on your part. So, I mean, again, very strategic, very intelligent choice. And I don't know if did you notice that?
Yeah. Let me follow up on that. That's actually an interesting point here. See, I actually dropped into the MechWarrior Online community by accident, honestly. It was just two events that happened at the same time. First, my friends getting me into MechWarrior Online. Secondly, my burnout in the old web development company. That was coincidence, I would say. It was a lucky one, a good one, so otherwise I wouldn't be here now. But it could have been, I don't know, what was interesting back then. I don't know, Diablo 3 maybe? I don't know. If I played that more, I would have uploaded a Diablo video, and I would have been in a completely different different community. But I uploaded MechWarrior Online, and I realized, hey, wait, there's traction, there's something going on. Let's dive deeper into it. And that is what I realized. I saw the opportunity, yes, but I didn't do it for, you know, taking a look at the overall gaming landscape and saying, oh, there's a niche, and now I'm going to dive into it because there's huge money in it. That wasn't my intention at all.
Gotcha.
So, and that's, I think, the takeaway for everybody out there. Don't do it for the money, nor the fame. Do it because of your passion. Because I think, yeah, there are some exceptions. There's Shroud and Ninja and all of the people who actually made a fortune with gaming, but they are exceptional characters with exceptional skill. So, in order to get there, you have to be either super lucky, super good, super entertaining, or I don't know what else. So
I think a lot of money can make up for being miserable and playing games you hate, but
Yeah.
I don't think that that's always true. And also, if you're doing something just for money and not making any money, there's almost no worse situation than that. But even if you're making a lot of money, no reward at all, nothing, no return. And even if you're getting paid good, decently or whatever, but doing something you hate, I mean, you know, I've worked for myself since I was 18 years old. That can be torture. You know, money isn't everything. Easy to say when you have a job and you have money, and somebody who doesn't would be like, fuck you. But it's true. It's simply not. You can't be miserable in life, but hey, at least I'm paying my bills. Now, a lot of people in the world are in that situation, and we're super fortunate that we're not. But yeah, I would absolutely agree. And I think it's that passion that you have that is absolutely part of your success. You can see when people are, you know, quote unquote, faking it or whatever, and not really happy. But
I would say passion, but also he's putting in the work, effort that goes along with that passion.
Absolutely.
You know, like he's 100% right. I mean, you can take some of these big Twitch streamers. Luck, I think, plays some role in some, I think, but for the most part, you look at, they're just putting in the work. You know, some of them, of course, have like esports background or whatever, and they get elevated because if you were to take,
but even that was a lot of work to become an esports professional.
Exactly.
That's a lot of fucking work.
But if you take what Baradul's doing, he could then apply. You're going to apply it to Mech 5, I'm assuming. You're going to apply it, you know, to more Battletech content. I mean, so like all of what you've done, foundation of all of that can be applied now to anything. And I think you would find success because of your success you already have on the channel. I think that would transcend any game that you.
So do I. I think you just do things right. You did things right. It's a combination of, you know, you looking into it, investigating what you want to do, being that type of person anyway, who's going to put a lot of vetting into anything you're doing. But also, it's your passion, it's your personality. I think you're a combination of a lot of things that were done right. Video games. We haven't really talked much about just video games in general. And we're not going to keep you super long because I know you are melting and dying. But as far as video games go, now we know that how you kind of happened upon MWO, and we're super lucky that you found us. Thank you to your friends specifically, whoever they are. Thank you guys. We appreciate it, guys. What was your experience with video games before that? Can you remember like the first video game you got addicted to? Did you think you would have a career in video games, or did you know they were always going to be a part of your life? What's your history with video games?
Actually, it's a nice little thing that I want to bring up here. I actually called my mom at some point, and I'm like, "Hey, mom, you know back then when you couldn't drag me away from the console, now it pays off." Really, I did that.
I've done that. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's really great. Now, yeah, I always wanted to be one of those magazine or console gaming magazine journalists back then. I wanted to be a game tester when I was young. When I was like 10 years old, my uncle came over with a Sega Master System, and my parents were playing it because that was we were playing Golden Axe and all of the good stuff. And we children were not allowed, my brother and I, to watch because it was too violent. And what we did is we peeked through the keyhole, and then our parents noticed, and they were like, "Okay, come on, sit down." And that moment was where my fascination for video games started. And at some Christmas, my uncle actually gifted the Sega Master System to me. Pretty cool. I had the Genesis afterwards, or Mega Drive, and I was playing all the Sega games from Sonic over Gauntlet. And here's a fun fact. On the Master System, there was one game called Ultima 4. It was a role-playing game that was actually in English. And as a little boy, I couldn't speak a single word of English. We learned it in school, I think at 4th grade, but I just couldn't. So I was buying myself a dictionary, and I was literally translating every single word to get some context of what the game wants to tell me. And this is how it went down from there. So my English basically comes from video games, movies, and books. That is a better reason to learn than just being pushed in school. It's so good.
Now I've noticed your English improving over the last few years. Have you felt that? Like,
yeah, definitely. It's practice. Especially as soon as I started streaming, people were... I was in interaction with people, so I would get answers and I could learn from them. Yeah.
that's the coolest.
Absolutely.
I was gonna say the incentive for a kid to learn another language because of gaming. That's like the perfect thing too.
Yeah.
Because you're totally gonna be engrossed in gaming, and of course you're gonna pick it up. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. But afterwards, I was always into kind of role-playing games, I gotta say. So Baldur's Gate was the first game I purchased myself. The original one, the first one. And ever since then, I was into it. I played a bunch of other games. Diablo was great. But I usually liked the party-based games because there again, I could build. I could figure out what I want to do with my single characters, outfit them, put certain weapons on them, decide which spell to use and stuff. So that's kind of my thing. I like tinkering around with combinations of things. Yeah.
Do you like Path of Exile?
I haven't played it.
Wow.
I wanted to pick it up. Yeah, I wanted to actually stream it, but then I figured I have a schedule right now that includes 2 videos a day and a stream. Where would I put this? The people want to see MechWarrior Online and Battletech on stream. I cannot just put like 80 hours of Pathfinder in between. I have no room for it right now.
What happens when Mech 5 comes out? What's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Well, thankfully,
obviously, we're gonna make a
into
YouTube series out of
Yeah.
this, and I'm looking very much forward to playing MechWarrior 5 with the viewers together. So MechWarrior
Absolutely.
5 co-op is gonna be a thing.
Oh, that's the best.
We're gonna kill so many of you guys out there. That's what's. We're just gonna throw them. Yeah, we can send them in. That'll be fun. Speaking of BattleTech, Urban Warfare, they just had a post, by the way, if you're reading this, or as like the art department, how they're doing stuff. Are you enjoying it? Are you finding the
What are your
ECM
thoughts on Urban Warfare?
Is ECM as OP as everybody says it is?
Yeah, it is, sadly, and it kind of breaks the game for me, I gotta say. It's too easy to manage ECM and not get shot at all, so it kind of takes like the whole balance out of the game, sadly. I wonder how it is in PvP. Never played Skirmish, I gotta say. Never played against other people.
Didn't Rogue Tech also have an update, just like recently?
I think Rogue Tech is still down.
No, they are still down
it?
as far as I know.
Because
I'm craving for it. I'm waiting for it so much.
I think a lot of people are.
Yeah, it broke everything.
Of
Or
course.
At least, so,
It'll
you know,
be
like,
interesting to see what happens when they get back up.
I really, you know, I don't know, I can't read the future, but I really wish, and I know they don't lock things importantly, but I really wish HPS would have, like, from the beginning, had the mod scene right there, like, as far as the pipeline. I think, I still feel
I
like
think that is a smart move from PGI with MechWarrior 5, just having that sorted out from the beginning.
Yeah, because they're having to reverse
so much more longevity.
Yeah, they reverse engineer everything, and you can imagine if they'd have just, I felt like it was a mistake, or maybe they didn't realize like how big it would have been. But maybe in the future they can. I don't know. But you know what I think would be really cool is a future DLC where it's clan invasion and you play from the.
I don't think that's
You're
gonna
the
happen.
invaders?
Yeah, because we've never had that. We've never had to where
We've never been the invaders. We've always been the defenders.
it's boring. Come on, we know this story. I mean, come on. I don't know.
Yeah,
See,
I
I
would
can
have a hard
remember
time doing
a
that.
statement from Mitch, and he said something like, "No, the clan story has been told multiple times. We want to tell another story, different one." I don't think that clans are ever going to happen from HBS side.
You don't think they'll introduce them, or just like a campaign?
As he says, in success, all things are
I don't know,
possible.
man.
So who knows?
I think, you know why I think it'll happen?
Huh?
Money.
Why?
Money,
we'll see.
money.
It is
money.
Paradox's
How many
decision now, isn't it?
clanners are out there that are playing Rogue Tech? They're like, yeah, we have to play Rogue Tech because you ain't giving us shit for clan mechs. I guarantee.
We'll see. Might be.
I
mean, there's hope.
I do want to wrap this up because I'm feeling the burn of your sweat in your eyes right now. I'm feeling it. So I know you're suffering. I do want to just wrap this up. We've been going for almost an hour now. But real quick, do you have a guilty pleasure game that you play on the side? I mean, you can't be, as a gamer, you can't be just playing MWO and Battletech all the time. Do you have anything that you just every once in a while log into?
I actually, there's a
Mobile games?
No. I see. The thing is, since I'm not leaving the house anymore, as we stated before, because I'm streaming and recording all day, I don't need a phone anymore. So actually, my phone is without power all the time.
Nice.
But coming back to the question, I occasionally, very, very rarely play Slay the Spire.
Okay, that's a good game, by the way. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I love like roguelikes, and again, it all comes down to figuring out combinations of things that work or that might work, even if they are kind of wacky.
That's awesome. And then we asked this this question of Logan, and I kind of liked where it went. Obviously, he has interest in game design, and I noticed you commented when I asked him this question. But if you could now, with all your experience of playing games and being a YouTuber, Twitch streamer, and somewhat involved in the industry, from a certain perspective, if you could design any game that would be, Baradul's favorite game, what would you design?
What would I design? Wow, did you really ask him that question?
Because you commented on it, dude. You commented on it. That's a good question. Maybe you were referring to one. Yeah,
maybe
before.
I was. It doesn't matter. Which game would I design?
Yeah.
As I was saying, something that has variables, a lot of it. It's probably gonna be a strategy game where you have to advance through like a randomized path, whatever that means, and you have multiple characters that you can outfit. And they get stronger until you reach the end boss, and then it's basically a combination of MechWarrior Online and Slay the Spire, honestly.
Nice.
I mean, that's the only two games apart from Battletech that I'm playing right now. Yeah,
dude, a card game, a Battletech card game like that would be pretty awesome.
But you had to have multiple characters. That's important.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
That is important with equipment and everything. Maybe something like, I don't know. Something like the tactics view from like Jagged Alliance and Alliance or Battletech or whatever, but with consecutive branching paths like FTL or yet again Slay the Spire, something.
Phil, when people say tactics, do you still flinch? I do, man. Still after 9 years.
I've tried to bury it.
Oh my god,
I can't.
You guys,
it's still there. When he said tactics, I was like,
I know what you mean.
MechWarrior Tactics. Just Google, YouTube that shit.
Oh boy, those were the days.
I gave them so much leeway too. I was like, it's not about the aesthetics. Let's get over ourselves. I'm better than that. I'm an adult. I can handle that they murdered everything. And then it's like, I feel like that game would have been successful if they wouldn't even try. Well, that's also why I'm glad HPS and PGR are working together as far as a core design. This is what mechs generally look like. And then, of course, Catalyst Game Labs as well. Everything sort of is a nice transition because that game, it just...
Yeah. Hey, we don't want to keep him here to talk about tactics. People are noticing that we are torturing him and he is suffering for us.
That's all good, guys.
And for his love for you guys, the community. We super appreciate you being here, Baradul, and everything that you've done for the community over the years. Super happy that you are full time, and just wish you nothing but success. We'll drop your support link in there again. Anything you'd like to say to our audience before we go?
Not really. I hope that I can stick around for longer. I hope that we're gonna have some more years of MechWarrior and Battletech and every other mech-related game. MechWarrior 5, modders, maybe multiplayer, maybe. Who knows? We will see about that. But yeah, apart from that, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being on the podcast. It's been a pleasure. It's awesome, like I said, watching you grow over the years and leading the way. So thank you again for being on the podcast. It means the world, and I guess we'll see tomorrow streaming the in the
Yeah,
future.
go be with your family, and we'll see you in the morning, right?
All right.
But this podcast is supported by you, the viewers out there. Please consider supporting us a variety of ways. You can sub to the Twitch channel, which, by the way, I've had a few of those. Thank you, guys. Dropping some bits as well. You can become one of our patrons as well. We've got a store link, our store, and we've got some nice. You can check out all that fun stuff. And of course, if you are going to shop on Amazon, we've got an affiliate link if you'd like to use it to help back to us. It would be appreciated.
That is right. So thank you all for being here. We will see you next week. We don't know who the special guest is going to be, but we will announce as soon as we find out.
It won't be next week because it's a holiday next.
Wednesday is a holiday?
Well, I mean, it's 4th of July, man.
Wednesday is?
It's the 3rd. I'm not going to be here. I don't know where you're
going to be
I'm going to
drinking.
be celebrating America. That's what I'm going to be doing.
All right. Well, then, whenever we're going to have our next podcast, we'll let you guys know, and we will be bringing another content creator. Had some, actually, I'm enjoying this way more than I thought I would, as far as doing these profiles on people. Maybe it's because of the 2 guests that we've had so far, and that may change. We'll see. But anyway, having a great time. Be sure to check out our website at NoGutsNoGalaxy.net. Check us out on Twitch at NGNGTV. You can check us out on YouTube at NoGutsNoGalaxy TV, Twitter at NoGutsNoGalaxy, Facebook at NoGutsNoGalaxy Podcast, SoundCloud at NoGutsNoGalaxy. And for all the latest and greatest in mech porn t-shirts and mugs, be sure to check us out at NoGutsNoGalaxyStore.com. And yes, I am still super jealous of people like Logan and Baradul that just have Baradul one of these days. Anyway.
This was your local No Guts, No Galaxy MechWare podcast. Signing off for tonight. This is Phil.
And this is Daeron.
Until next time, Mech Warriors. You're totally... Oh my God.
I can't see.
You're
I can't
fired.
see you.
You're fired. I don't even know.
See you guys.
Who are you?